Welcome to Martini Time. And I have been having the best time today. I get hold of something and it just keeps on giving. So this morning, I cracked a little Facebook joke about I don't like being interrupted when I'm writing on Facebook. I can't stop in midstream. And of course, when you're 80, you have a lot of trouble with midstream. I don't pee, I drain. But anyway, so the other day, I found this little Greek my uncle's had this. He had a little the little Greek pissing boy. I guess he's Greek. He has a Greek hair. But they're garden statues. He used to have one of these in his patio pond. I neglected to bring it back to Virginia when we cleared out his house. So I don't know where it is, but it was a nice, nice pond statue, and the water goes through it, and the little boy pees in your pond. It's kind of cute, So anyway, I was so delighted to find this because I know that he had picked this up because he had a little statue of it, So all day this has been my metaphor for the day, that it's just been streaming all day. And like any stream, it started out with a trickle and it became a river. And it begins to meander. And this is an interesting thing about a stream, which becomes a river. A trickle becomes a stream, becomes a river, and it goes to the ocean. And rivers don't go straight, mostly. They meander a little bit. Some really meander. And some rivers will meander into a circle like that, you see, and it'll break off, of course. But the idea is that some rivers in their going to the sea can make a little tape loop circle, you see, and get trapped there. And also what happens if you cut off a stream or a river? What does that feel like? So the metaphor was connecting the stream of life, you see. So we're not talking about pee, so don't worry about it. We're talking about the stream of life. And how do we get it flowing, which we call creativity, and what happens when it gets dammed up or it goes in a tape loop, and why does that happen? And the other question that came up was, is everybody a stream of life? And is everybody a stream of life going to the ocean of unity? Now, for the river, the ocean is the source and its destination. Its source because the ocean evaporates and comes down in snow in the mountains and melts and then finds its way back to the ocean. So there's a cycle there, you see. So the water is always going to its source as destination and coming from its source, you see. And this is who we are. We come from our source and we're going to our source. And that source is the same source. So our life is a meandering between the source and the destination, which is the source. T.S. Eliot said, if I can remember the poem, in our exploring, when we come to the end of our exploring, we arrive at our beginning and see it for the first time. So when we begin our exploring and we arrive at the river, at the ocean, we arrive at our source, where we begin and see it for the first time. So this meandering stream today was interesting because it did diverge off into the current topic today, which is the mass shooter in Washington. And so we have in our country, we have mass shooters. We don't call them terrorists. And if there's a Muslim, well then it's mass shooter is a Muslim. So if if the Islamic terrorist, you see Islam, so ISIS. So if ISIS has a gun, it's a terrorist. But if disgruntled Sanders employee or white nationalist has a gun, well, then it's something else. I don't know what, it's a mass shooter. Okay. So anyway, so the question is, one question that the little Greek pissing boy raised was, is his river going to the ocean? Does he think he's going towards unity? So what creates the mass shooter? The mass shooter is created in two, at the source and in the destination. So if you look at the collective world, if you look at our current history and the conflict and the gridlock between left and right, which is now breaking into two separate realities. It's not just a tennis political match. It's a war of the worlds, a war of realities, a war for the soul, a war for truth, you see. So politics has been framed in the past 40 years as a cosmic war of good against evil. So one side sees the other side as the evil, not as a tennis game match, not as a political match where you fight like heck during the day and then have a drink at the bar at night, you see. It's a war for life. It's a war for the soul of America. So when this conflict is framed that way, then you have people who have internal inconsistencies that they cannot solve, internal wars, you see, and so their internal war that they can find no resolution resonates with the external war that can find no resolution, and so they frame their internal war in terms of the external war. So if you're a Republican, you frame it as the liberals are the evil, and you want to bring unity. You want to restore peace. You want to restore America yourself. How are you going to do that? By getting rid of the evil guy. So it's kind of like a tennis match where one tennis player, frustrated because he can't win, and the match never comes to an end, pulls out a gun and shoots him. Like in Indiana Jones. Remember that? Was it The Last Crusade? I forgot which one. But he's in a town square in some country, and he's confronted with a guy with a sword, and the guy with the sword is going through all of his preparation and his scare tactics, and he's sweeping the sword around. Indiana Jones just pulls out his gun and shoots him and walks on. And we think that's great, you see. He didn't play the game. So anyway, so we have this situation where the meandering river of America, instead of going to its destination, is caught in a tape loop. And this creates great frustration and uncertainty and angst because we know we're on the wrong path. We're on the wrong path. We're not going straight. We're not handling problems. We're not dealing with reality. We're in a tape loop. We're in a battle between real and fake news going around, and the snake chasing its own tail, you see. The dog chasing its own tail, going in a circle. I got to break it up. I got to intervene. I got to break this up and get the river going again. So when you have people who, like individuals, like this guy who shot the Republicans up, as our latest example, we have somebody who has internal inconsistencies, and he's going in a tape loop within himself, and it becomes intolerable. And it resonates with and it replicates himself in the external tape loop. So what is he going to do? Well, he's going to be a martyr. He's going to do something that no one else will do. He's going to act. So he's going to go out and shoot the evil ones. Hopefully, he thinks, that will break it up and get the water going again. The same guy, the same white nationalist that shot up the church in South Carolina, What did he say he was going to do? He wanted to start a race war. He said, if nobody else would do it, I'll do it. I'll be a martyr. Manson. Manson out there in California in the 60s. What did he do? He wanted to start a race war and bring about the Armageddon and bring about the final war between good and evil. You see how this mythology comes in here? When you create good and evil, you're going to create a mythology of the cosmic war of good and evil, where good triumphs in the end, but first you have to have Armageddon. First you have to bring about total destruction. And out of that total destruction, Jesus will return and restore unity, and the river will flow to the sea, and everybody will be happy. And I'll do it. I'll be the one who sacrifices myself to bring this about, you see. So you see how this cosmic framing of the world in terms of good and evil ends up in creating end of time conspiracy theories, Armageddon. Let's bring it on. Can't wait anymore. Let's bring it on. And fortunately, you see, we went through this in the 50s with the Cold War, and there was a movie, remember, Dr. Strangelove? And that was all about, let's bring it on. So there were a lot of movies about rogue generals who wanted to bring it on and tried to trigger the end of the world or atomic war, where at least they figured there would be some Americans left to repopulate the world. You see? So we just went through that with the Cold War, and darn if we aren't starting it again. We're just framing the cosmic war with new people, new ideas, you see. Now it's Christians against Muslims. Cosmic war against good and evil. Bring it on. You know, let's get it over with. I can't stand the tension. The river cannot stand to meander in a circle. It's got to get going some way. So when you have a stream that gets diverted into a tape loop and repeat Groundhog Day around gridlock, 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 the pain becomes intolerable because it's life going against itself. Life, the whole energy of the cosmos wants to flow to the ocean. And the ocean is metaphor now. It's not really about rivers going to the ocean. It's about going to unity, creating unity, peace, restoring unity, you see. Look at World War II. That was an Armageddon in the sense that everybody was at war and there was total destruction. Germany was totally destroyed. Everybody totally destroyed. And so then there was a Marshall Plan and the funneling of energy, American energy, into Europe, and it gave rebirth to a new order. The European Union, a new order, you see. First time in history that the tribes of Europe have been united instead of killing each other, you see. And of course now that order is under threat, but I don't want to divert the stream into that, you see. But the idea here is that we're working with right now is that whenever we have a cosmic absolute division of the world or my life into absolutes, we're going to end up in a tape loop and a terrible frustration and a eventual violent reaction that will destroy the whole thing in order to get out of the pain of denying life, you see. The news is full of this. Every time you see a husband shoots wife, wife shoots husband, what is that? That is a live stream that got diverted into a frustrating tape loop. And if something about a tape loop, and we're talking about a tape loop, is that it is a self-generating energy system. When you take a microphone, if I took this little speaker here, this little thing, and I stuck it up against an amplifier, it would go wow, 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 you see. We all see that go squeals, squeals, you see. Turn it off, turn it off. Wow, 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 wow. It's self-generating because the energy feeds into itself and it grows on its own energy because it's tape-looped. It's a closed system. The mind is a closed system. And so when we close our mind off into incompatible opposites like good and evil, it's going to go in a tape loop. It can't get out. Because good feeds on evil and evil feeds on good, and it goes round and round and round, you see. So that's what the terrorism thing is. We're going around and around and around because we're not framing it correctly. We're not understanding it correctly. And we're doing the same thing in our country with left and right, liberals and conservatives, good and evil, round and around and around and around, you see. And the faster it goes, people start flying off, like the merry-go-round gone mad. Wow, 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 woo, people going off. And when they go off, they shoot somebody. When they go off, they do something destructive. Death is better than, wow, that is death. Wow, 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 wow. You see. So, but when you have this dissonance of good versus evil in absolute terms, the only way out, there are two ways out. One is through violence, and one is through creativity. Now, the violence and the creativity are both going to be spontaneous acts. The violence is going to be going to be the lack of creativity, but it's going to be spontaneous. We see this all the time. Somebody goes to get some gas. They hit somebody with a fire. You know, there's these fire things that they hit somebody, they kill somebody at the gas station. They're in prison. What happened? I don't know. I just went to get some gas. He said something and boom, an explosion. I blew up. Why did he blow up? It was not that one little frown. It was the saturation point of the tape loop, of the diverted stream of life that's going in a circle. The wah 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 had reached an intolerable point. And it just needs a little tap, just a little nudge, just a little spitball. And spontaneous violence. And then it's in the news. Why did he do it? What happened? I don't know. Why does this keep happening? See, spontaneous violence. Of course, they plan it, but it's sometimes it's not planned. Sometimes it is. Mostly it is. I mean, they go get the gun and they go set it up. You see, but it is a violent solution to an impossible internal conflict that is mirrored by external conflict. So instead of dealing with their own internal conflict, they want to end their internal conflict by ending the external conflict. And that has to be violently because you can't heal no individual can heal the external harm. All we can do is find the creative solution within, and then the external condition falls away. When you heal yourself within, the external conflict that reflects it, that is a mirror reflection, just falls away. There's no more problem with the world. When you end the problem with yourself, you see. But we live in a materialistic world where everybody's living in a reflection of themselves. Everybody's living in a selfie. Everybody's living in the reflection of themselves, the image person. Mad Men was all about that. Everybody's living in a self-reflection of themselves as an image. What does my image look like? Am I okay? Am I okay? Am I okay? See, I got to have a good-looking image, you see. I'm an image, you see. So we live in a reflected world that's turned inside out. We think the external world is the real world, but it's just a reflection of our internal world, meaning-wise. The meaning we see in the world out there is a reflection of our own internal inconsistencies that we don't see. So only way we can see it is in a mirror, and it's out there. So if I want to fix it, I got to fix the reflection. I got to break the mirror. I got to blow up the mirror. I got to blow up the mirror. And then it doesn't do anything. Now the guy's sitting in jail. What the hell happened? So the little Greek pissing boy brought me a lot of wisdom today. And this is where another thing, and another tract, another stream of this that was interesting was that, and I started the whole thing by saying when I'm writing on Facebook, I don't like to be interrupted. I can't stop my stream in midstream. But then I did qualify that and said, well, that's changed. I can be writing on Facebook creatively, and my wife can say, would you come take out the garbage? And that's interrupted. My stream is interrupted. I get up, go take the garbage, come back and sit down and pick up that stream exactly where I left it off. And when you read it, there is no break in the stream. The creative flow was not interrupted. Now, how is that? Now, if I reacted to my wife's interruption of my stream, damn it, don't you see this is my time. I'm writing here. Okay, I'll go do it, you see. And if I did that, I would interrupt my stream and I would not be able to pick it up again. I'd be so pissed off. You see? So when we interrupt our stream, or we think that the outside world, other people, family members, the world, situations is interrupting our stream, we get pissed off and we can't pick the stream back up again. Now our stream looks like hyphens. Boop, boop, boop. You see? So our stream is not interrupted when we realize that all life is one stream. My wife's intention, she needs to have the garbage taken out. My intention to write. The telemarketer that calls is the guy who rings the doorbell while I'm writing. All these little interruptions are all the same stream of life. But if we see them as separate bad streams, in streams that have the intention of screwing up my stream, beavers who want to dam up my stream, all these beavers, you see, then I'm going to be pissed off. And my creative energy now goes where? Not into the creative stream. No. It goes into grievance and resentment, fear. And when your stream goes into grievance and resentment, it's no longer creative. Now it's going in a tape loop, you see. And that could build up and build up and build up until, wow, you get divorced. Or do something else. Or go into depression. That's a self-inflicted divorce, you see. Either it goes outward, anger, I'm going to get rid of the world that's blocking my stream, or I'm going to turn it within and say, there's no hope, my stream is gone. Depression, you see. Two faces of the same disrupted stream that is blamed upon external sources. So your stream becomes whole. Your stream becomes seamless when your life stream is felt, seen, known to be part of a greater stream of life, collected of many streams, but all are going to the same ocean. Even the terrorist and the mass shooter. It's all water going to the same place, you see. So, thank you for dropping in, and I'll see you tomorrow morning for our next metaphor in your toolbox.